Hey y'all, welcome to day 3 of the Get Out of Jail Sis Challenge. I am excited. This is our last day for the challenge, and we are talking about action. We are talking about reclaiming your power. Yes, we're talking about reclaiming your power. It's so exciting when we're talking about power because this is where you done did the work already. You done reclaim your confidence. You started to change your mindset. You started to do some personal development. You started to heal, and most importantly, forgive. Right, and then now you started to work on, excuse me, your identity, right, of who you are, right? And that's what we talked about yesterday, who you are, because it's so important in this time. It is important to know who you are, right? And what's your identity, right? And asking God and co-creating with him the vision for your life, right? So now we are talking about action. This is reclaiming your power, and we're going to get into that. But of course, we have our church announcements that we have to take care of. So, again, we are preparing for the Get Out of Jail Sis Women's Conference. First time we are in person. I'm so excited. I can't wait to see everyone who have registered, the speakers who are coming in. It is going to be a great time because not only that you're going to get motivation and inspiration. Yeah, that's good. But the thing that set us apart at this conference is that we are giving you tools, we're giving you resources, we're giving you actionable steps to help you to get out of jail and to stay out of jail. That's the most important thing, is that when you get out of jail, we want you to stay out of jail. So I'm excited for it because this is the time. This is the time where we have to get out of our jails, right? By us staying in our jails, we're doing a disservice to God, because there is people who are assigned to us, right? That we have to help free them out of their jails, whatever that may be. And this is why, even for me, my jail a long time has been keeping my mouth shut, has been keeping myself mute, because I'm just like, I ain't got nothing to say. What I have to say, nobody is gonna listen, right? It's not important. But I know that I'm assigned to certain people. I know that there's people who are attached to me to be free. And I had to get out of my jail. Listen, y'all, still getting out of my jail of this comfort of doing these videos and doing lives. Because, baby, social media and doing these lives, it would take you out. It would take you out. So, so this is what we're going to be doing at the conference. We have VIP on Friday night is the sip and talk. If you want to even get a little snippet of what the sip and talk look like, what it entails, what we're going to be doing, we have a video on YouTube, and we have the video on the Eventbrite page, so you will be able to see the type of atmosphere that you are coming into, not only for the conference but also at the VIP session, which will be our sip and talk. So it's just girl talk. We coming in, we're leaving titles at the door. We're not moms, we're not daughters, we're not aunties, we're not business owners, we're not workers. We are just coming in as ourselves, right? We being authentic that night. We are unveiling the mask. We are being ourselves on Friday night. So go ahead, get your VIP tickets, because you don't want to miss it. It's going to be an encounter like no other, just to be able to just be around with like-minded women, right? That can pour into you, right? That can help you, guide you on a situation, give you some guidance, right? It ain't nothing like having good girl talk while eating, okay, and enjoying one's company. So that's all I wanted to share with you. Again, you can go on the website at reclaimingyourlifellc.com/events to purchase your ticket, or you can search it on what's the thing? Eventbrite, and type in Get Out of Jail Sis to be able to purchase your tickets. So let's get right into it. So tonight we're talking about action. We're talking about reclaiming your power. And I love this because now it is time to reclaim your power, right? So we already know who we are, because we don't ask God, we co-created with him, and we asked him, what is the vision that you have for my life, right? So he done told you all of these things. So now it is time to put this thing in motion. Now it's time to reclaim your power. Now is for you to get your authority, know your authority, know what you who you are, right? I wanted to say another word other than authority, but this is where you really know your authority, right? And stand firm in your authority and what you are called to do, and to do that thing, right? And this is where now you start to do some action steps, right? Now you are creating goals for this thing that God has called you to do. Now, what is the necessary steps that you have to do? Do you have to go back to school? Do you have to have some form of education? Do you need to get a certificate? What are the things that you need to do? So, this is where we will go ahead and figure out what it is, right? We will figure out, do we need what kind of goals do we need to write? We need to have some short-term goals, we need to have some long-term goals. We need to figure out what goals we can accomplish in 3 months, and we need to figure out what we can accomplish in 6 months, and we need to figure out what we can accomplish in a year. So this is where you need to be very, very intentional and writing these goals out and what you want to do, and the steps to help you to achieve that goal, right? So for instance, we're going to start with a house. I love, that's my go-to explanation, is talking about a house, right? So if you want to get a house, right, we know that's a long-term goal, right? It's a long-term goal for a house. It's not a short-term goal, right? Because it takes a while for you to get a house. There's some things that you have to go through, right? Some situations maybe, right? To get to this house, right? So now we know the house is a long-term goal. Now, what are the other quarter goals or um small goals to get this big goal, right? First thing is, how is your credit, right? So you're going to pull your credit, you're going to look at your credit, you're going to see what's on there, what needs to be paid, what needs to be removed, or whatever have you, right? And now when we look at our credit, if you got some credit cards, some bills that need to be paid that's outstanding, we're going to write that down, right? Write that down, and then you working towards those goals first. You're working towards paying off your bills. We're working on getting some things removed from our credit. These are the things that you're working on in this one quarter goal. We just gonna call it quarter one, right? Your quarter two goals, this is where you now have some other goals set, right? Now, okay, I got my credit situated, right? Now, okay, let me find me a realtor. And let me tell you something, baby. Research your realtor. Do background searches on your realtor. Like, I mean, do some digging. See if they had any client reviews, and read their client reviews. Because, baby, people out here be talking about their realtors and don't be caring nothing about you but just that sale. That's it. They don't care about what you're looking for in a house, no nothing. I could go on and on and on about my experience with the first realtor that I had purchasing this home. She didn't care nothing about her, nothing but a dollar. That's it. That's all she cared about. She was trying to get me to bid on homes and go way over the asking price. It didn't have the amenities that I was looking for in a community. So these are things that you have to, research when you're looking for a realtor, because I'm talking about a house in this case, right? So you research your realtor, see that she legit, that she about you, she about that life. And now you work with your realtor, right? um and then you can ask her, even in that, do she know a mortgage person, right? Because that's like the next step, or you could do that first. Those you can kind of work interchangeably. Like, you can have the mortgage person first, or you can have your realtor, because most of the time they referring each other. The mortgage lender may have a realtor that they work with, and vice versa, right? So now that you have your realtor, you have a mortgage lender broker that you're working with, let's see what I can get pre-approved for, right? Get pre-approved, and then it's up to you at that point. Because if you like what you were pre-approved for, you move forward with your realtor and you figure out what you can get. And then if not, you go back to the mortgage person to ask them, hey, what can I do to get more funding? Or what can I do to increase this amount? Because it could be that you don't work a lot of money, right? So maybe you can do like a two, I don't even want to say it and butcher it up, and it may be wrong, but you can get the loan where you can get like a rehab loan, I believe, or something of that nature, where you can buy a home that needs to be fixed up, where it probably would have to be like a two family or three family, where you can find a home like that, fix it up, and that will be your home, right? So there's other ways how you can get a home, to start off with. It may not be your dream home, but at least it's something to get you into the home. It's another strategy to get you there, right? So once you have gotten that part, right, and now you out looking for a house, right? So now you've explained to your realtor what you're looking for, right? So these are all things that you have to know when you are writing your goal, when now you are doing things that God has called you to do, right? So even if he has called you to ministry, into a business, right? We know this is a business, right? We know he done showed you the vision of the end game for this business, which we know that is way bigger than you can think or even imagine, right? Because God is just a God who is just outside of the box, right? And he do things big. He do things on a grand level. So we already know the end goal is out the roof, right? So, but the thing is, what are we doing to get to that end goal with what he have called you to do, right? So again, do you have to get some kind of form of education? Do you have to get a certification? If so, what schools offer it? Where can I go to school to get this degree, to get this education? Or where is a school that I can go, or a training program where I can get the certificate that I need for what God has called me to be, right? Then after that, once you figure that out and even obtain it, then now what is the next step with that? Because even if you had to go to school to get a degree for what he has called you to do, there's still some things that you can do in the interim, right? Because the school, that's a long-term goal. It's not something that's going to happen overnight, right? So we got to figure out what is it that God wants us to do, and to start working towards those goals. Because the thing is, as you are reclaiming your power, right? It's just something about that feeling when you are working towards something and you start accomplishing things off of your list, off of your to-do list, off of your goals, right? But I know that sometimes when we are walking in this thing, I touched on it yesterday, where we would have some kind of reservations, where we're having some fear, right? But I want you to think about, where does that fear come from? Who is that coming from? What spirit is that, right? Because God don't give us the spirit of fear, right? But we have to reclaim our power in order to be able to accomplish the things that he has given us, the things that he has put on the inside of us. I know that it may be scary for what he has called you to do, right? I know that it may be scary. You may be unsure. You may even having some doubts. You may even thinking like, "Whoo, this is bigger than me." You're having all of these emotions running through, right? But I want to share this with you. That is okay as long as you don't sit in it. And I say that because these are things that you have to release. These are things that you have to get out your body so that it is not sitting in there. Because as it's sitting in your body, then you're going to become where you're not going to be able to move. You're not going to be thinking the way that God wants you to think and move the way that He wants you to move. You're just going to be stagnant. And you don't want to be in a place of stagnant, because now we're just sitting here and time waits for no one. Time is going by, is going by, is going by, where we're still here and we see everybody else moving ahead of us. So you can't be scared with what he has called you to do. It may be uneasy, it may be uncomfortable, but that's where you're supposed to be. Always in a place of uncomfortability, right? Because if we complacent, how can God use us? And I'm saying that because if you are just in one place, God can't use you. He can't get the glory out of your situation that you may have endured. So we have to constantly be moving. We have to constantly be asking God, what's my next steps? Don't let what people may say hinder you from moving forward, because what God have gave you, they mad because he didn't give them anything, and he didn't give them anything because they're not intentional. They don't want a relationship with God. They don't even want to know who God is. So the thing that God have given you and shown you, now you go back and run and tell them, they not gonna see it. Why they not gonna see it? Because they're looking at it with a carnal mind, right? We co-creating with God. We one with God, right? So we gonna do what God tell us to do, right? Because that's where we at. That's where you need to be. Is to do things according to His will. So I want you to really start to put some things into action, to start moving and doing some things so that you can get closer to what God has called you and what He has for you. It's so many things that He has for us, but we ain't moving because we scared. People done prophesied over yourself, over you, done told you some things, and those things haven't come to pass because you saying, oh, they false, or they don't know what they're talking about, but you ain't moved. You ain't moved. It's time for you to take action, because ain't you tired of living the same way? People prophesy over you. They at a time they done prophesied over to you, saying this and saying that, but you don't even see or even to live out the prophecy because you stagnant. You staying in place. We got to move. Faith without works is dead. So you got to move. You got to encourage yourself to get up, to move, to do things differently than how you see people, do things on a regular. Because I guarantee you, what God gives you is that He's giving you the provision that's like no other. Because half of the time, these people not even one with God. So they may think their business is flourishing or whatever the case might be, but it's really not. It's really not. So write down your goals, right? The SMART goals. You have to be specific with your goals, right? You got to make sure they're measurable, right? You got to make sure they're realistic, right? You have to really be intentional with this, right? I kind of, let me get the SMART goals up, because as I was going through them, I was kind of going off the top of my head. But as we are here and we're talking about it, so yes, it has to be specific, it has to be measurable, achievable, relevant, and the time. So let's go a little bit more into that. Um, so you have to make your goals very specific, right? So this is why I use the house analogy, because now you the house analogy where you're looking at your credit. So this is where we're being very specific with our goals. We're being intentional of taking the long-term goal and we are breaking it down, right? Now you have to make sure that your goal and progress are measurable, right? Sorry. I do apologize. You have to, with this, you have to really um, kind of track the time that so you have to be you have to say that you want to be finished by XYZ with your credit. You have to put some type of time with that. Okay, so now achievable, you got to make sure you can do this goal, right? So as you are setting um these the time frame, you have to make sure that you can achieve it within that time frame. So don't sit here and say, oh, I want to have a 750 in 30 days. We know that's a lie. That's not going to happen, right? So you also want to make sure that they are relevant, right? That your goal is aligning with your values and your long-term objectives, with which is the long-term goal, right? So everything that you're doing in regards to the house, it has to align with the long-term of getting the home, right? So then we have to set realistic end dates, within a certain time. You have to be realistic. You can't say you want to get a house in 3 months. If you ain't got the cash up front, you're not getting a house in 3 months. So if you want to give yourself a year time frame to get your credit together, to get your credit score to a certain number, and to be able to find a house, because you don't want to rush, you don't want to just get into anything, then a year, that is really reasonable. So these are the things that you have to do when it comes to the SMART goals. So you can go ahead and Google that, where you can get more information to the SMART goals and really know, okay, what you need to focus on at this moment in time. Okay. So again, this is all I have for you all tonight. Really is just about reclaiming your power. We talked about faith. We talked about reclaiming your confidence. We talk about determination and how important it is to reclaim your identity and know who you are. And then finally, tonight's the last night, we talked about putting these things into action, reclaiming your power, knowing the authority and who God has called you to be, to move in the way that He wants you to move, right? So I love doing this challenge because although we talk I share the same information, but it's always something new, something fresh that God will give me to share with you all. So it is still the same, right? Faith, reclaiming your identity; determination, reclaiming your confidence for faith, right? Determination, reclaiming your identity; and action, reclaiming your power. This is where you take back who you are. You've been through all these things in life, right? People hurt you, misuse you, treated, abuse you, talked down to you, all types of things, told you that you will mount out to nothing, right? All of these things. But this is the time that you prove to yourself, most importantly. You prove to yourself at this time, where you do this in the action. So this is all I had to share with you all tonight. And I hope that it bless you. I hope the whole challenge, you were able to at least take away one thing to be able to help you on your healing journey, on your spiritual journey, to get to the next place that God has for you. So again, I hope that I can see, you all at the conference. We do have virtual tickets available. So if you can't make it down to Florida this time around, I hope to see you in the virtual seats. Again, thank you all for joining me on this Get Out of Jail Sis challenge. And I will see you all next time. Bye.